Now it is my pleasure to introduce you to your speaker for today's webinar, and she is Gabriela Marton, Regulatory Affairs Director, Quality Director with Arriello. Gabby leads all regulatory affairs functions, developing robust and efficient market access and post-marketing strategies to support pharmaceutical companies' business needs. She has over 14 years of experience in regulatory affairs and compliance within the pharmaceutical and food supplement sectors. Now it is my pleasure to pass over the controls and mic to Gabby. So Gabby, when you're ready, you may begin.
Thank you, Sonia, for such a nice introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining this session, where we are going to discuss about biosimilar evolution in Europe. Today, I will start with a short introduction about the general terms used in relation with biologic medicine. And the objective of this presentation is to bring to your attention how the authorities are supporting biosimilar penetration in Europe, how biologic and biosimilar prices have evolved during time, and which is the environment created by European policies for the future of biosimilars. Starting from the definitions, a hierarchy of biological products was developed dividing biologics into originals and non-originals. At their end, each category can be further divided as follows: originals into innovator and biobetter, and non-original biosimilars and non-original biologics. As mentioned in the name of today's session, focus is around one of these categories, which is biosimilars. Considering EMA definition, a biosimilar is highly similar product to another already approved biological medicine, named reference medicine. As generic medicine have been developed to complement originator needs in the market, biosimilars appear from the same need. Because biologics are prepared from living organisms and their products, a reference product and its biosimilar cannot contain identical molecule, but it's expected to have the same therapeutical effect. Looking at the manufacturing efforts and cost for manufacturing a biological medicine versus its biosimilar, is noted that a similar molecule can be developed in the shortened time, up to 5 years less than cost, and cost can be up to 70% less. From the price perspective, innovator is setting the reference price in the market, while biosimilar will have a lower price reflecting production costs and also market competition and country policies. As the innovative represents first solution for treatment disease, market penetrability will be always higher comparing with its biosimilar. Later, I will show how prices is influenced and how market competition evolved during time. But first, I will go through biosimilar legislation to support biosimilar introduction in Europe and trends set by registration approach, data exclusivity, and market competition. As you know, since 2004, we have available regulation for authorization and supervision of medicinal products, which is supported by numerous guidelines to ensure that applicants know what to follow when they desire to apply for biosimilar registration. During time, EMA made efforts to continuously improve guidelines and provided support. From this, we can mention updates for guidelines for clinical and non-clinical development of products containing recombinant erythropoietins and those containing somatropin. And of course, tailored scientific advice introduced in 2017. As a result, today more than 70 biosimilars are registered and others are under evaluation. Similar efforts have been done by each national drug authority around Europe and CMDH to provide access to so needed biosimilars, and as mentioned before, to supplement the need of reference products in the market, and to ensure earliest and affordable access to treatment for all categories of patients. While comparing biologics with its biosimilar from manufacturing effort point of view, I was saying that development of the biosimilar can be up to 5 years quicker than the development of its reference product. And that is because after studying biosimilar clinical behavior, regulatory bodies agreed that for biosimilar, it is recommended to perform an enhanced comparative quality study and less clinical and non-clinical studies in order to support product registration. This can be seen from the data requirements for a biosimilar approval pyramid that I'm showing now. Having the possibility to reduce studies performed, biosimilar can access the market in much shorter time comparing with its reference product. It was demonstrated that biosimilar product can reach the market up to 2 years quicker. At the end of comparative clinical, non-clinical, and quality studies, it is expected to demonstrate that there are no meaningful differences in terms of safety, quality, and efficacy between biosimilar and its reference product. To understand current trends for biosimilar introduction in European markets, I have looked at statistics provided by EMA and CMDH reflecting submission and approval status. Looking at submission trends, can be observed a small decrease in number of centralized procedure submissions and an increase of mutual recognition submission for biosimilar registration in Europe. In the same way, can be noticed a significant increase in number of biosimilar approved through mutual recognition procedure. This trend is reflecting a decentralized approach in strategy used for accessing different European markets, and also confirms a growth in biosimilar concentration on developed European markets. To continue analysis, I was looking at further submission expectation for biosimilar products, and as often happens that biologic medicine have indications suitable for orphan designation, in the following slide, it is explained how patent and market exclusivity will influence further submissions. As you know, biosimilar can only be authorized once the period of data exclusivity on the reference biological medicine has expired. Since 2006, when the first biosimilar was approved in Europe, products and formulation are protected by market exclusivity and patents. Today, after more than a decade, from the 56 orphan biologics registered in Europe, 14 have lost market exclusivity, and by 2029, another 34 will lose such exclusivity. Beginning with 2015, patents protecting innovative biologics expired, and most of formulation will have patents expired by 2023. Considering this, in the following years, it is expected to have more biosimilars submitted for registration, therefore more such products included in the European markets. But what will be the advantage of having more biosimilars in Europe? To answer this question, it is important to remember that innovative products are limited in volumes for some indications, comparing with patient needs, and are also expensive. Therefore, more products available will increase the access to medicine for patients, and because are less expensive, treatment can be affordable. More products will support healthcare programs and will create savings. Easy access to treatment and less expensive treatments can be achieved due to market competition between biosimilars and reference products. Such competition can determine price reduction of the reference product after introduction on the market of the biosimilar, challenging the monopoly of its pricing model. As can be seen, there is a number of advantages in having more biosimilar on the market, but how the price is influenced in biosimilar pathway. As any good for sale, price for biosimilar is dictated by development of marketing costs. but is also expected to carry out not so lengthy clinical trials, and access to market can be faster. It is expected that manufacturing costs to be lower when lower for the biosimilar than from the reference product. Once the biosimilar is registered, manufacturers are facing with market price setting, where many variables are to be considered. Market price can be influenced by competitivity between innovative and biosimilar, or between various biosimilars available on the market. Most of the biosimilar products are introduced in the markets through tenders, therefore price is negotiated for the bid. Considering market specificity, discounts offered by manufacturer can reach up to 80%, as will be exemplified later. While there are advantages and quicker access on the market for the biosimilar, manufacturers are encountering challenges in having desired price and volumes due to each country particularities and policies. By now, we know that several biosimilars are available in most of European markets, and we can already see the effects of submission trends. Having more products available on the markets demonstrate potential to increase competition in the market between biosimilar and originator, which has effect in lowering costs and will ultimately create savings for healthcare system. Looking at market information, we can see that in Europe in 2019, an average of 3.5 market concentration biosimilar per originator was achieved. The price reduction of originator after introduction of biosimilar on the market reached more than 60% in Portugal for erythropoietin, and price per treatment day was reduced with an average of 30%. Making efforts to create savings, authority pushed for significant discounts for products acquired through tenders, and examples show 85% discount achieved in Norway and 45% discount achieved in France. I have mentioned several times market competition, and this graph is presenting market concentration as an average between the most non-biosimilar availability available on the European market: rituximab, infliximab, insulin, trastuzumab, etanercept. Market competition index was set as a value from 1 to 5, where 1 is low level of competition and 5 is high level of competition. As can be seen, majority of European markets present a medium competition level. What was noticed in this analysis is that higher competition between biologics and biosimilar is for biosimilar approved early than 2015. As an example, for products like rituximab and infliximab, a higher level of competition already exists in the market. While for products like trastuzumab, for which the first biosimilar was approved in 2017, even though currently more than 5 biosimilars are registered, we still see a low competition. Most probably this will be changed in the next years. Looking at countries' performance, even though we know that non-Nordic countries are leading from biosimilar experience point of view, Poland was remarked as achieving the highest market penetration by biosimilar as a result of lacking the policies and guidelines for these products. By now, trends regarding submission and data exclusivity have been presented, followed by price, component, and challenges. We took a peek into market competition, but another factor can contribute to determine future of biosimilar, and that is interchangeability. The following slide, I will go through definition, context, and European approach with respect of interchangeability. According with EMA, interchangeability is defined as the possibility to exchange one medicine with another that is expected to have the same clinical effect. Referring at biologics, interchangeability means the possibility to replace a reference product with its biosimilar and vice versa, or to replace a biosimilar with another one. Interchangeability can be indicated by the prescribing doctor, and in this case is named switching, or can be realized by dispensing one interchangeable medicine instead of the prescribed one at pharmacy level. In this case is named substitution. What is important to know is that biosimilars are not by default interchangeable. It's not sufficient to have been demonstrated biosimilarity and have the product approved on the market to consider that this can be introduced in the interchangeability cycle. So what else is needed? As addressed at the beginning in the definition slide, a biosimilar is a medicine proven to be highly similar with another already approved. Given the fact that products are similar, not identical, biosimilars for the same reference product will not be identical either, but highly similar. During the registration process, performing less clinical and non-clinical study, focus is on quality study to demonstrate molecules comparability. And products will only be registered if non-clinical meaningful differences in safety and efficiency versus reference product is demonstrated. To demonstrate that a product can be subject to interchangeability process, a biosimilar needs to show the same clinical results after administration as the reference product or another biosimilar of the reference product. Therefore, a biosimilar will be considered suitable for interchangeability if it is registered and clinical results are favorable. Let's see how interchangeability is approached around Europe. Once competition started on the market, important questions were raised. Is it advisable to replace originator with a biosimilar in the treatment, and who can recommend the change? We know definitions, but how is it practically possible? To obtain an answer to these questions, since 2014, different studies have been done to understand if interchangeability is recommended or not. Products like infliximab, etanercept, and adalimumab have been tested not only in Europe, but also FDA conducted several testing. One of such studies is NorSwitch, a study initiated by Norway Drug Authority on infliximab to observe any safety concerns raised by switching patients from the biologic medicine to a biosimilar. This study demonstrated that potential differences do not result in any clinically significant risk, providing that biosimilar is suitable to be introduced into the interchangeability cycle. But education of all parties involved, healthcare professionals as doctors and pharmacists, and patients, is playing an important part in supporting interchangeability decisions. Even though studies demonstrated that medicines can be interchangeable, there are still barriers for healthcare professionals in applying such information. In the last year, huge progress happened in this regard, but still are healthcare professionals who are not keen to apply interchangeability. Moreover, when discussion about multiple switching or substitution appeared. Most of the worries are around possibility of emerging new adverse reaction or increased prevalence of these adverse reactions. Also, a mistrust that biosimilars have the same efficacy as their originator exists. This can still be observed for generic products after decades of experience. Therefore, more likely, a longer period will be needed for obtaining trust in medicine efficacy. Dosage form can also contribute at not accepting interchangeability, as change can be uncomfortable. Some biosimilars do not have available the same pharmaceutical dosage as their originators. Medicine progress works hand in hand with new products development. Some biosimilars have administration devices which year by year become more sophisticated. Keeping up with technological progress and being always trained with administration devices can be a barrier for healthcare professionals and for patients also. We will see later that this is one of the challenges that countries' policies are facing. Having in mind that interchangeability studies are happening, some of them those providing good results, and just mentioned healthcare professional concerns, it is explained why a harmonized approach with respect of interchangeability between European drug authorities was not yet achieved with respect of interchangeability. As mentioned before, possibility of interchangeability can influence market concentration of biosimilars, biologic price, and healthcare system costs. Not having a harmonized approach in Europe, it is empowering each member state drug authority to decide individually if interchangeability can be recommended in certain cases. For centralized procedure, interchangeability has been introduced as a point in the assessment report created by EMA. This graphic represents switching and substitution policies around Europe. It is visible that switching is in general allowed, while substitution is not allowed in most of the countries. Efforts to make interchangeability happen is showing results at prescriber level, where switching is happening, but there is a long way until gaining sufficient information to prove and trust substitution. Each European government and regulatory authority has an agenda of supporting access to medicine and treatment cost decreases. As there are plenty of differences in between countries and their ways of operating, also a large diversity of policies covering biosimilar topics were developed over the years. Some of these policies are a success, and in the following slide I will bring them into your attention. But as in any endeavor, challenges appear, and I will dedicate a few slides in this chapter for those two. Without having proper policies in place, a financial barrier can appear for the patients to have access to effective treatment, as the biologics are not usually cost-effective. Biosimilars create an opportunity of cost savings, and having support for introduction of such products in the market is very important. Looking at countries' effort to support easy access to medicine, some positive examples have stand in front. It is encouraging that most of European countries have succeeded in achieving widespread acceptance of biosimilar by all parties, payers, providers, and patients. It is important that all parties understand the benefit of having available on the market such medicine. Then, in the Nordic countries, biosimilars are introduced very rapidly, and as we saw earlier today, marketing competition between originator and biosimilar started, with immediate effect on access and prices. Governments are having initiatives to increase biosimilar penetration in the market. Such example we can see in France, where there is a plan to achieve 80% during this year. Also from France, we have a good example on how patient associations can contribute by influencing the government and be part of policy creation. In some other countries, incentives are available for manufacturers, hospitals, and also for patients. Such policies are enforced in countries like Sweden, Belgium, France, and Germany. Germany is also providing a reimbursement program, which is a positive example. This reimbursement program is creating a full reimbursement from the first day possibility at a set price, ensuring immediate access to biosimilars. Local clinical guidelines are developed to encourage biosimilar use as first choice where appropriate. While setting tenders, market volumes are set and assurance is provided to the manufacturers that expected market volumes will be met. This will avoid loss in market volumes due to renegotiation of price for reference product and discounts applicable as a result of introduction in the market of a biosimilar. Models for sharing a rabat payment between governments and payers have been identified. Competition is encouraged by allowing multiple manufacturers to operate in the market. As an example, Sweden is organizing multiple tenders per region to support this competition. All these positive policies have an important impact on widening the access to medicine for all categories of patients. Cost reduction, as mentioned before, healthcare system saving due to price reduction and decrease of cost per treatment day. Volume growth, and on enabling all participants, payers, providers, patients, healthcare professionals to gain important experience in using biosimilars. Even though positive efforts are appreciated, each approach is revealing challenges. Moving forward, this will be described. The balance obtained by good policies can be easily destabilized by measures like exclusive tenders, which can negatively impact biosimilar sustainability. Fixed reimbursement prices, which can destabilize competitive markets and discourage manufacturers to participate on market competition. Need for manufacturer to provide full supply when the tender is won in order to avoid supply shortage. Lack of competition when a single winner is taking all market for a specific molecule. That may reduce the attractiveness of the market for other players. Not fully developed or not implemented incentives. As I was mentioning before, some countries are providing such incentives, but majority of countries do not have a policy for incentives or policies in place are not fully implemented. As in some countries, policies are ensuring that market volumes are guaranteed. In others, such guarantee does not exist. And after the price readjustment, market volumes are lost. Once introducing a biosimilar in the market, the manufacturer of the originator may come and request an adjustment of this price, and that will trigger a price reduction also for biosimilar product or a loss of market volumes. Other challenges come from education. As earlier mentioned, keeping track with progress is not always easy. Education around biosimilars is highly needed, not only for healthcare professionals, but also for patients, decision makers, and perhaps also media. Healthcare professional needs to be informed about the entry in use of a biosimilar, to be trained around administration and self-administration of the biosimilar in order to support patients with self-administration, and also to create trust. Trust will establish foundation for inquiring about interchangeability allowance and can change country current approach with respect of interchangeability. We can be witness in the next years to a shifting from interchangeability approach around Europe and having also allowance for substitution. As seen in generic, as long as interchangeability does not gain ground and experience, favoring the reference product prescription will continue. And this can lead to a reduction in level of competition and potentially can result in price increase over time. Looking at challenges, few future changes are to come, and those will be introduced as lesson learned. Looking at those, we can see that policies triggering prices may not be sustainable. That is really needed to create a competitive environment with multi-stakeholders, to customize agreements, and to ensure that market access to each manufacturer is allowed. And also, as I was saying, it's very important to educate parties in order to know how useful biosimilars are, how those can be used, how interchangeability can be also used, and when interchangeability is recommended. To summarize today, we went through biosimilar registration approach, data exclusivity, market competition, interchangeability approach, and the summary of good policies, challenges of current policies, and a lighter touch on how future policies can be. As a conclusion, let's see what the future is holding. As data exclusivity period is coming to an end for most biologics, we can have a glance into the near future and conclude that it is expected to have more products launched on European markets in the next years. It is already proven that use of biosimilar are creating cost saving for healthcare system, and more patients can access treatments. Having more products available on the market will enable each category of patient to have access to cheaper treatment and also to treatment by need. It is expected that market competition will grow, but pharmaceutical companies will be challenged to keep prices attractive and products affordable. Competition will also be stimulated by emerging biopharma companies engaging in dynamic partnership that we already see developing. Governments will need to understand that incentives are playing an important part in attracting biosimilar manufacturers to invest in development and commercialization of these products. Having said that, thank you all for listening to this presentation, and now we will move to the most dynamic part of this presentation, which will be question and answer session. Sonia, please take over.
Okay, yes, thank you very much for that very insightful presentation, Gabby. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Now I would like to invite our audience to continue sending in their questions or comments right now as we begin the Q&A portion of the webinar. So we'll put on our webcams. Hi, everyone. Okay, now I have received some questions from our audience members already, so I will begin with those. So Gabby, are you ready?
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi. Here's our first question. Do you think the new pandemic context will have an impact on policies?
Yes, indeed. I think that looking at what is happening currently with biological products, with biosimilars that are developed, with the need of having new vaccines, we will face a change in the way that policies will be created around Europe, which means that for sure, for the introduction of biological products, we are looking at faster tracks. But indeed, for biosimilars, we are looking at change in policies that will enable manufacturers to have vaccines ready, to have biosimilars introduced in the market faster, and to have them introduced in the programs that they have at national level.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabby. Here's our next question. Is EMA a or the leading authority when we refer to biosimilar registration?
It is for now. For now, we can say that products are registered in Europe are, if the product is registered in Europe, it means that can be registered in another country as a fast track. There are legislation which are allowing this type of approach. We can recently see how countries from CIS region are developing, taking the advantage of the fact that products are registered in Europe, and also based on the fact that legislation related with the biosimilar is not so highly developed. They are taking the products which are registered in Europe, and they are submitting, those products can be submitted as biologic, as innovative, but it's faster to evaluate the dossiers based on the fact that have been approved in Europe. Also, we can see that other countries are developing a lot, and we are facing a very interesting growth in Asian countries, where biosimilars have been introduced for a long time, and also where we have a different type of products on the market, which are non-original products that are not expected to be biosimilar. But indeed, Europe can lead in this regard the other markets.
Okay, thank you. Here is our next question. If the EU is trying to achieve more competition in biosimilar market, why are the second and third biosimilar entrants allowed registration only with reduced pricing?
I think that it is rather a policy that is approached by each authority. So entrance of the biosimilar in the country, as I was mentioning, is done to tenders. That means that the manufacturers need to bid for that entrance in the market. Therefore, governments trying to achieve as much as possible cost saving for their healthcare systems are pushing the manufacturer to have those huge discounts. And I would say that is how it explains how the biosimilar products are reaching the market always with a huge discount.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. I'm just here getting our questions lined up. There's a couple coming through. Okay, here's the next one. How does the European context compare to the rest of the world?
As I was saying when I was explaining how Europe is a leader in biosimilar introduction in the market, and also in having knowledge to understand and to support the registration of the product. I would say that we are facing now at an interesting process, which means that most of the biosimilar have been registered in Europe, and manufacturers and marketing authorization holders are looking to expand this into other territories. Therefore, are going with the products which are already registered in Europe in other territories, obtaining the registration. On the other hand, we are seeing a lot of manufacturers which are coming from Asia, which are trying to penetrate European market. And it is very interesting to see how new innovative products are brought, and also how biosimilars are, cross-registered in other regions.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Here's our next question. What are the main differences between the FDA and the EMA policies towards biosimilars?
Oh, there are many differences. There are differences with respect of documents creation and documents to support, and also studies to support. And I would say that the most interesting difference that I noticed lately is the fact that FDA actually has a policy relating interchangeability. And recently I have participating in a conference with a colleague from FDA, which explained how this is regulated within the FDA. And I would say that is encouraging, that they encourage more interchangeability, and they understand more the need of having more products on the market, more biosimilar in the market.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Here's our next question. What incentives are needed to attracting multiple biosimilar manufacturers to invest in developing and commercializing biosimilars?
Oh, many. It's a large subject to discuss. There are many things already set by some authorities, which means there are incentives, there are some vouchers available for manufacturers. Those vouchers can be transmitted, can be used by a marketing authorization holder for fact. Or there are incentives which are relating to um, um, the, of to healthcare professionals, to doctors. There are incentives like financial incentives set it for healthcare professionals to help them understand the biosimilar market, and also to work with prescription of biosimilars instead of with originator in order to reduce the cost. So multiple type of incentives can be introduced in the market. It depends on which category are we looking. I would say that it's very important to look in each country policy and to understand how they use biosimilar, how the government programs for supporting healthcare is created, and based on that, different and particular, if you wish, incentives can be created.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Here's our next question. Are there different guidelines for the other biological products, like a BioImprove, for example?
Are not different guidelines. I wouldn't say that there are different guidelines, or maybe you can argue that there are different guidelines. There are a lot of guidelines issued by EMA which are targeting different type of products. So additional to the general guidelines for registration of biosimilar, there are a lot of guidelines, clinical guidelines, non-clinical guidelines, quality guidelines to follow for particular parts, particular type of biosimilars. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the presentation, clinical and non-clinical development for erythropoietin guidelines. And there are many of those for insulins and other type of products.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Here's our next question. The UK has recently published a draft guidance indicating that phase 3 studies may not be necessary for the registration of a biosimilar. What is the current thinking throughout the EU now? And a smile comes to your face.
Yeah, yes, smiles came to my face because this is a question that we have approached, I think, 2 years ago in a very large conference, and we argue about needed PK and PD for registration. And most of the participants had the same approach, that phase 3 study may not be necessary for submission. I wouldn't know how what is the thinking throughout the EU, because I wouldn't know how to answer to this one, because I don't have information from different countries about this particular topic. I know that EMA is looking indeed to simplify and to have a simplified clinical information provided in the dossiers.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Just checking to see if we have any more questions coming in here. Okay, no, I think that is it. Okay, well, thank you very much for those questions. Oh, wait, hold on. I think we have one last one coming in. Let's see if we could squeeze this one in. Does gain sharing with prescribers create a conflict of interest?
Another tricky one.
Another smile comes across your face.
There are so many argues about at country level, there are incentives and also penalties. Yeah, so we are looking at different opinion with regards of what it is an incentive and what is a penalty for a prescriber who will not prescribe a biosimilar in order to support downsize of costs in healthcare system. So indeed, gang sharing, it might be a conflict of interest, in my opinion at least.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, thank you.
it's actually an endeavor of trying to see how the contracts are set in such a way that gang sharing are let's say, not so promoted.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Okay, well, thank you very much for those questions. It looks like we've reached the end of the Q&A portion of the webinar, so I'd like to thank everyone out there for sending in their questions. If we couldn't attend to your questions, the team at Arriello may follow up with you after this presentation. If you have any further questions, direct them to the email addresses that's on your screen. There's one there for Gabby, and there's a sales department there, and check out their website here. Well, thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. You will be receiving a follow-up email from xTalks with access to the recorded archive for this event. A survey window will be popping up on your screen. Your participation is appreciated as it will help us to improve on our further webinars. Now, I'm about to send you a link in your chat box. You'll be able to view the recording of this event at that link and also share that link with your colleagues when they register for the recording as well. So I encourage you to do that. Now, please join us in thanking our speaker, Gabby, for that very insightful presentation. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you everyone for being here and supporting me in this presentation at the end of the day.
Great. Okay. We hope you found this webinar informative. It has been my pleasure to be your webinar moderator. On behalf of the team here at xTalks, we thank you for joining us. I'm Sonia Hunt. Until next time, please take care and bye for now. Bye, everyone. Bye, Gabby. Thank you. Bye.